All right, so hello everyone. I hope you guys are able to hear and see me all right. And I would like for you guys to just go ahead and let me know inside the chat box that you are able to hear and see me all right. Right? So, just before we get started, kindly go ahead and write down into the chat box that you can hear and see me. Okay, let me enable the chat. There you go. All right. All right. That's good. Thank you. All right, so we would just be starting with the webinar in a few minutes, and I can see the people have started to join. And as we go ahead with the session, as we move ahead with the webinar, the people would keep joining, and this is how we would be moving forward. So, for the guys who have joined, I'm going to let you know that this is going to be a very, very important session, a very important webinar. And in this session, we are going to discuss about some things that we get asked a lot from our coaching clients. Now, these are the questions that people keep asking. What are the steps that I should take on a daily basis in order to take my speech towards the next level? What do I need to do if I don't have time? If I have a lot of work, what do I need to do? And if my schedule is very busy, is there something that I can miss out on? Are there some things that are a must when I go out to speak? What do I focus on? I don't know. What should I focus on? Should I focus on this? Should I focus on that? Should I do this? Should I do that? So the people have a lot of these questions in their mind, and we are going to go ahead in this session and answer some, if not all, of those questions. And you guys can always just keep writing into the chat box your questions, your comments, and everything. And if there is something in between, you can just go and write it down into the chat box. I've just enabled the chat box and you can write whatever you want, right? And for most of the questions that you guys would be asking, we would be moving forward towards most of the questions towards the end. But if I'm speaking and I feel like there is a question that needs to be answered, so I would just quickly go ahead and answer it, and then we would be moving forward, right? So in the meantime, you guys can go ahead and write down in the chat box where you are joining us from. We always like to know where the people are joining us from, like your country, your city, maybe. So if you can write that down in the chat box, that would be really helpful. Thank you. All right, Miami, that's good. Anyone else? In the meantime, for anyone who does not know me, I know most of you would, or most of you should, I should say. My name is Farooq, and I'm serving as a certified Pro90d speech coach working for the last 2 years. Now, I was someone who myself used to struggle severely with my speech, and I'm not exaggerating, where sometimes I would find it really hard to get even a single word out, even something like a yes or a no out. And the system helped me move from that place up to this place, and now I'm helping my clients and students do exactly the same. So I'm very happy to see that the people are joining from all over, from Kenya, from New Zealand, from Canada, from South Africa, from the US. So that is something which is really good, and I hope that the people would keep joining as we move forward, right? So as I said, I've been serving as a speech coach, then helping my clients and students do the same. And if after the session you guys would like to check out something, this is my YouTube channel. The link I've shared where I just always share stuff about what clients ask me the most about, and I try to make videos on answers, right? So you can find a lot of videos towards that. All right. So getting started, the Pro 90D speed system, right? Many of you guys would already know that this is a system which is there to help you become an excellent and amazing speaker. We are not there to help you not stutter, not stammer. We are not there to help you not get stuck. In fact, this is not even our goal at all. We are there to help you become excellent and amazing speaker, because what happens in the way is that as you work towards becoming an amazing speaker, the stuttering, stammering, everything just takes care of itself, right? Or if you keep focusing on trying to get rid of stuttering, trying to get rid of stammering, the more you get of it because you are focusing your attention on it. So make sure if you are in this system, or if you are just planning to join this system, that you have in your mind that you are here to become an excellent and amazing speaker. Stuttering, stammering, everything is the best thing that has ever happened to me, because that made me work on my speech. That made me reach a level of speech that I have reached now, that I would not have reached if I had not struggled with my speech. Why? Because I would never have worked on my speech. Just go out there and look how many people actually work on their speech. Very few, very, very few. So life gave us stuttering, stammering, right? So it gave us an opportunity to work on our speech and work towards becoming an excellent speaker. The system says if you're working on your speech, why to only work to not get stuck? Why not to work on your speech to become an excellent and amazing speaker? In the process, that stuttering, stammering, everything takes care of itself. If in the meantime there is if you guys can't hear me, just go ahead and let me know inside the chat box that, hey, we are not able to hear you or see you, and we'll fix that. Although that would not happen in case that happens, right? So, the Pro90d speech system helps you become an excellent speaker, but how? How does the system help you get up to that point? Well, the system helps you get up to that point by focusing on the mindset, working on your mindset, working on the physical aspect of speaking, and working on your self identity. How do you see yourself as a speaker? So these three work like a tripod stand. Without one, the tripod stand falls, right? Many systems out there make a mistake that they are just focused on the physical aspect. From my experience of working with clients all over the world, I have found, and we have found, that the mental aspect, how you see yourself as a speaker, your mental aspect and the speaking identity often accounts for 75% of your speech problems. 75%. If you're just working on the physical aspect, you're missing out on a lot, right? So it's very important to work on that aspect. But it's also important to work on the physical aspect as well. You can't just work on the mindset and expect everything to work out on its own. So each of these is important, and each of these we cover inside this Pro90D speech system, right? So that is the first thing. That is what we are focused on. Now, there is a whole lot of stuff for each one of these. For the mindset, there are a lot of things that we help you work with. With the physical aspect, there are a lot of things that we help you work with. For your speaking identity, there are obviously a lot of things that we help you work with. In this session, I can't mention all because we have a shortage of time, but I'm going to mention the ones that are the most important, that I found for myself when I was working on my speech with the system, and for my clients. These are the things that are the most important. If you keep doing these things every single day, it can make you progress much, much faster to where you want, right? So, what are those things? We'll go ahead and get started with the mindset. What is the stuff that you need to keep in mind? What is the stuff that you need to work on while you're actually working on your mindset? So, believe it or not, the first thing from the word go is that you have to change what you say to yourself. Let me say that again. You have to change what you say to yourself about yourself, what you say to yourself about yourself as a speaker, how you actually see different speaking situations. So we have to change the way how we speak to ourselves, because our thoughts in general is what we say to ourselves. The simple definition of a thought is what we actually say to ourselves subconsciously. So we have to change that, because all the negative things that we have been saying to ourselves for a long, long time, all of that has been having a tremendous negative impact on our mindset and therefore on our speech. So we have to change what we say to ourselves. The first part is the affirmations. Now, an affirmation is a set phrase that you continuously, repeatedly say to yourself. For example, from now on, instead of saying, I'm a bad speaker, I get stuck, I stutter, I stammer, start saying things to yourself that you want. That is, speak to yourself. Listen further. You are an excellent and amazing speaker. You are an amazing, amazing speaker. People love speaking with you. People love speaking with you. You are always excited to speak. You enjoy speaking situations. You want to go out more. You want to speak more. You love speaking. You're an excellent and amazing speaker. No matter what the situation is, you're always very relaxed and you always take your time while speaking, right? These are some of the set phrases that you need to start to say to yourself, right? Now, at the start, when you would start to say these things to yourself, your mind would say no. When you say that, hey, you're an excellent speaker, your mind would say, no, you're not an excellent speaker. You get stuck, you do this, you do that, blah, blah, blah. But whatever your mind says, you have to continuously and repeatedly keep saying these things to yourself. You have to keep seeing how you see yourself as a speaker. You have to keep changing how you look at different speaking situations. And you would find that at the start, these thoughts would feel very weird. But the more and more you continuously say these to yourself, over a period of time, your mind would start to accept it. And when you start to accept these thoughts, that is where the magic starts to happen. It starts to show in your speech. I don't want you to actually just believe me. I want you to try it out for yourself. After the session, start saying things to yourself that you want. Start looking yourself as a speaker that you always wanted to be. And speak to yourself. And speak to yourself not just in a sense like you're an excellent speaker, you're an excellent speaker, no. Speak to yourself with some sort of an emotion. Listen, you're an excellent speaker. People love speaking with you. You're an amazing speaker. I'm so excited to see that you're always relaxed in every speaking situation. You're a very relaxed person. No matter whoever is in front of you, you always take your time while speaking and you always speak in the best way. You're an amazing speaker. You are my favorite speaker, right? Speak to yourself. Speak to yourself. And if you just carefully notice, I'm using the word you. You are an excellent speaker. Many of the researchers out there have shown that when you use the word you for yourself, when you're speaking to yourself and you use the word you, it has much more of an impact on you than if you use the word I. Even if you use the word I, that is fine. But if you actually use the word you, that would have a great impact on what you are saying to yourself. Listen, you're an excellent and amazing speaker. Keep saying that to yourself over and over again. Now, this is something that you have to say to yourself all day long. You have to keep saying this in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night, all day long. But sometimes where you especially need to say it is, but sometimes where you especially need to say it is just after you wake up and just before you're going to sleep. I'm going to say it again. Just after you wake up and just before you go to sleep, I want you to repeat these affirmations to yourself. And the reason is that just after you wake up and just before you go to sleep, those are the times when your mind is actually the most relaxed and your mind is actually in the alpha state. So if you say these things to yourself when you're very relaxed, cool, and calm, these affirmations would have a lot more of an impact on you, right? So I want you to especially say that just after you wake up and just before you go to sleep, but not only on those times. I want you to keep saying them all day long, right? So these affirmations are a big, big part of mindset, and these affirmations are a big, big part of actually working on your speech. Now, the next thing, self-talk. Self-talk is also something which is very much related to the affirmations, but a self-talk is not usually a said phrase. Self-talk actually means to speak to yourself continuously. For example, Whenever you're going into a speaking situation, constantly reminding yourself to, hey, just relax, slow down. Relax, slow down, take your time. Relax, slow down, take your time. Just relax, just take it easy. And believe it or not, you would not have to say it once. You would not have to say it twice. You would have to keep saying that multiple times over and over and over and over and over and over again. Just as you're going into a speaking situation, right? Relax, breathe, slow down. And believe it or not, just breathing and slowing down sometimes has more than an 80% of the impact on your speech. So breathing, relaxing, and slowing down is a huge part. It's not the only part, but it's a huge part. So constantly reminding yourself of it as you're going into a speaking situation, not only just before you're speaking, but also while you're speaking, you would need to keep reminding yourself of it. You would find that you would be focusing on, hey, use your new speaking style, use your new speaking style, relax, slow down. And all of a sudden, the next second, you would find your mind switching back into the old speaking style. Then you would have to remind yourself again. Then it would switch back. Then you would have to remind yourself again. Then it would switch back. So this movement would keep happening. Whenever you find yourself going back to your old speaking style, remind yourself to bring yourself back to the new speaking style. Hey, relax, slow down, use your new speaking style. And your new speaking style is actually what you learn inside this Pro90d speech system. Hey, extend and blend your words. Model, use your hands, use your facial expressions, breathe, relax, slow down. So, believe it or not, you would have to keep doing these things over and over again before you're speaking, very important, and also while you're speaking, so that during your whole speaking experience, you stay in your new speaking mode. You stay in your new speaking style. That is something that is extremely important. In fact, you would also need to speak to yourself after a speaking situation. Now, you might think before a speaking situation sounds good, in a speaking situation sounds good, but why do I need to speak to myself after a speaking situation? I'm already done with the speaking situation. Because you have to accept the fact that working on your speech takes time, right? It's not that you would just go out there, focus on using your new speaking style, and in one go, you would start to use it in every situation, right? Even when you start to use it, you would still experience some failures. You would experience successes as well, but you would still experience failures, some failures. Whatever default state of mind is, we always focus on the part of the glass that is empty. We always focus on the failures. Well, I'm working on my speech, and I've heard my clients say it a lot. Well, I'm working on my speech, but this is not working. That is not working. This is not working, right? So after a speaking situation, you need to go back, look at the speaking situation, and try to look at it as a success. There might have been some points where you maybe got stuck, where maybe you actually did not speak as well, but try to focus on the times where you spoke well. For example, if there was a 5 minute conversation and you say that in that 1 minute I spoke well, and the rest of the 4 minutes I wasn't speaking so well, so your mind would still try to focus on the 4 minutes that did not go well. But you have to learn to focus on that 1 minute that actually went well. Try to be happy about it. Try to celebrate. Focus on your successes. I always say to my clients, why do we even need to focus on the failures? Failures were there before as well. There's nothing new in that. What's new is the successes that you guys are experiencing. So focus your mind on the successes. Go back at speaking situations and say that this was a success. Although maybe for the last part I wasn't speaking very well, but for that 1 minute I spoke very well. And then ask yourself, maybe in that fourth minute or in those 4 minutes, I was not breathing, I was not using my hands, maybe I was not doing the modeling, which we are going to speak about later on. Maybe I was speaking fast. So maybe those are the reasons that I wasn't speaking very well. All right. In the next speaking situation, I would focus that I do all of that, right? Learn from it, but focus on the successes. Focus is like your own personal sunlight, and you can point it at whatever seed you like. If you point it at failures, those failures start to increase. If you point it at successes, those successes keep increasing. So you have to learn how to focus on the successes. Each night before you go to sleep, try to write down your speaking successes. Try to write down. Maybe when was speaking to my mom, that was a situation where I spoke really well. I was speaking to my father. I was speaking to my friend, and that one sentence I said very smooth. Even if it was one sentence, that is a success. Even if you were feeling more relaxed than before, even that is a success, believe it or not, right? So try to find successes. And the best point is when you're focused on the successes, so each day you would try to go out and speak more and use your new speaking style so that just before you go to sleep, you are able to actually write down your successes, right? So that is another advantage of writing down your successes, of focusing on your successes. So always have your mind focused on the successes, and that is something which is really, really important. So do you guys have something to mention or ask up till now? I have a question. While I'm speaking, I say to myself, slow down, or have at the top of my mind that I'm an excellent speaker. All right. So the affirmations are something that you do not necessarily need to do while you're speaking. So while you're speaking, you need to focus on the way that you speak. That is, focus on trying to use your new speaking style. And for that, you would have to be constantly reminding yourself of what you need to do. I need to relax. I need to slow down. I need to use more facial expressions. I need to use my hands. So you would need to focus on that. Affirmations are something that you can focus on all day long, in the morning, in the evening, at night, especially in the morning and at night, as I said. But while you're speaking, you would need to constantly remind yourself of what you would need to do. So both of them are important, right? So I hope that answered your question. Would journaling be an effective way to talk to myself? Yes, it can actually be. So if you find that journaling helps you with that, that is really very helpful. And that is something that I'm also wanting you guys to actually do. Because each night before you go to sleep, try to journal your successes. Try to write down your speaking successes. So, yes, journaling is very, very helpful and it's extremely helpful. All right. So these were some of the things that I have found the most important while you're working on your mindset. There are the rest of those things as well. For example, there is the visualization as well, there is the verbalization as well, all that stuff. But these are some things that are extremely important that you need to be doing. One more point that I would like to mention under this category is audio listening. Now, in our speech system, there are a lot of audios that you need to listen to every single day. So those audios actually flood your mind with the content that you need, with the content that you require. So you actually learn a lot of stuff about speech and speaking, and also it changes how you think about speech and speaking. So audios, constantly listening to those audios that we have inside the speech system is extremely important. And that is something that you also need to be doing every single day, because you need to change the input, what you say to yourself, what you listen to. And those audios are going to play a major role in that. We have the videos as well, we have the audios as well, but obviously you can just play a video and listen to it as well, right? So that is something that you can also do. But audio listening, it's very helpful because you don't have to sit and listen to an audio. You can do it while you're doing something else. For example, you can listen to audios while you're driving, while you're exercising, while you're doing something where you're not consciously focused on it. So you can keep listening to the audios. So audios would be a really, really important part. So the people who are inside the speech system, they would know what I'm speaking about. And the people who are not inside the speech system, they would need to get inside the speech system in order to know actually what I'm saying. And together with that, I'm also going to share the links of my coaching page right here, the Pro90d coaching page that you guys can go ahead and look up to after this session, right? So this was actually the mindset. Now, if we move on towards the physical aspect of speaking, now obviously there are a lot of things that go along with. There are a lot of speaking skills that actually go along with. There is extending, there is blending, there is breathing, there is free flow speaking, there is finishing, there is articulating, there is emphasizing, there is your body language. But I'm going to be speaking about the ones that I have found the most useful for me when I was working on my speech, and that I have found the most useful for the clients that I've been working with for the last 2 years. And that is free flow speak, free flow speaking, extending and blending your words. If you notice, just at the start of this session, I said that slowing down is a really, really important part of working on your speech. And often, just learning to relax and slow down gives you 80% of your speech improvements. And something that helps you a lot with slowing down is the aspect of extending out your words. Now, what do I mean when I actually say extending out your words? By extending out your words, I mean elongating your words. I mean stretching out your words, elongating your words. For example, if I'm saying the word elongation, I can just say elongation, or I can say elongation, elongation. I can say elongation. So I can say elongation and I can say elongation. So extending your words, you're actually stretching your words. You're increasing the length of that word. How does that help? That helps you to slow down your speech. You can try it for yourself. If you try to extend out your words, excuse me, even if you want, you actually can't speak fast. So, for example, if I'm extending out my words, even if I want, I can't actually speak fast. And when I'm saying extending out your words, so I don't mean extending every word, but extending more of your words. So when I say extending out your words, I don't mean extending every word, but I mean extending more of your words. So extending more would help you slow down more. And when you slow down more, it would increase the amount of control that you have on your speech. So when we are speaking, we often feel like we are out of control. We don't know what to do. We start to speak really fast. We try to get rid of speaking as quick as we can. But we have to learn how to actually slow down our speech. Slowing down is a very important part, and extending is a very major part of slowing. This is an art that actually comes with practice, right? And try to pay notice that I'm not saying dragging your speech. Now, there's a difference between extending your words and dragging your speech. If I'm speaking like that, it means that I'm actually dragging my speech. I'm not asking you to speak like that. That is obviously weird. I'm asking you to actually extend out more of your words. This is how my speech sounds when I'm actually extending out more of my words. So don't drag your speech, but extend out most of your words. And if you are a very fast speaker, like I am working with some of the clients who actually they speak really, really fast. They speak extremely fast. So if you are in that category, I would advise you to try to extend out every single word. Because if you are on one extreme, you would have to focus on the next extreme so that you lie at least somewhere in between, right? But for most of the people, focus on trying to extend out most of your words. That is something that is extremely helpful. Now, the next thing that we are going to move towards is actually blending your words or linking your words, right? So extending and blending go hand in hand. I'm explaining extending first, then I'll be explaining Then I'll be explaining blending, right? And then I'll mix those two and explain those in sequence. So now, what is linking and blending your words? If you would notice that as many people speak, especially the people who have a hard time speaking, who stutter, who stammer, what happens with most of them is that they speak choppy. That is, they speak like this, chopping of their speech. When you speak like that, when you have a lot of pauses and breaks between your words, what happens is that you start to anticipate almost every single word that you say. You start to look out for, you start to anticipate every single word that you're actually saying. And the more you anticipate those, the more you worry about those, and the more you get stuck. So if you speak in a choppy manner like this, then you would find yourself anticipating a lot, worrying a lot, and getting stuck a lot. So blending is the art of linking and connecting your words. For example, if I'm saying, so I have to actually link and connect my words. I can say it like, so I have to actually link and connect my words. But I can also say it like, so I have to actually link and connect my words. So I have to actually link and connect my words. So I have to actually link and connect my words. So you see how I'm speaking? So I have to actually link and connect my words. I'm saying that whole sentence in a single go. You wouldn't find any gap in between my words. I am linking and connecting my words together. I'm linking, I'm linking, you can see how that M blends with the L. I'm linking and connecting my words together. I'm linking and connecting my words together, right? So that is something that is very, very important and that you have to keep in mind. So blending your words. You have to keep blending your words and you have to keep speaking until you feel like I need to pause and breathe again. Then you pause, you breathe again, and then you again speak while linking and connecting your words together. So you speak like this, where you are linking and connecting your words together, and wherever you feel like you need to breathe again, you just have a small pause, you breathe, and then you again start speaking and you are linking and connecting your words. Try to almost force yourself to keep going, to keep linking and connecting every single word. Your mind, out of habit, would want you to stop. Your mind would want to stop, anticipate, and worry about the word or the words that you're going to say next. Your mind would want you to do that. But you have to force yourself to keep going. You have to force yourself to keep going and keep connecting and linking your words together as you speak. Now, if I'm just extending my words and not linking my words, that is how it would sound like. If I am just extending my words and I'm not blending, it would sound like this. So, yes, I'm having a greater amount of control over my speech, but my speech is becoming very, very choppy. If I'm just blending and and not extending, my speech would sound like this. If I'm just blending my words and not extending, my speech would sound like this. I'm speaking in a flow, but I'm speaking extremely fast. So your speech has to be a combination of extending and blending. Right now, the way that I'm speaking, I'm actually extending and connecting my words together. And when you start to incorporate extending as well as blending in your speech, that is where your speech really starts to go towards that next level. So your speech should always be a combination of breathing, extending, and blending. Why breathing? Because you need air in order to airflow speak. It's also called airflow linking. So in order to airflow link, you need air. So it's like breathing, extending, and blending. See it like this. Inhale from your nose, exhale from your mouth, and while you're exhaling, speak over the exhalation, linking and connecting your words together. So keep breathing and then speaking and then connecting and linking your words together and extending your words to slow down your speech. So your speech has to be a combination of all of that. So you also have to work on that when you're by yourself. So for example, get something to speak about. All right, so let me speak about my hobby, let me speak about my work, or let me speak about Yes, let's say I'll speak about my hobby and I'm going to focus on breathing, extending, and bending. All right, so I'm going to speak about one of my hobbies, and one of the best of my hobbies is playing the game of cricket. And if you notice, what I'm doing right now is that I'm linking and connecting every single word together, and you would not find any gap in between my words. And also, I'm extending some of my words to give me a greater amount of control over my speech. So it's extremely important to breathe, extend, and blend, to breathe, extend, and blend, because that gives you a great amount of control over your speech, and that really starts to take your speech towards that next level. So you have to keep doing that all day long as well. Not all day long. So for example, you can work on that for half an hour each day. So for example, half an hour, I'm going to work on breathing, extending, and blending. There is a lot of stuff that we have inside the system, but this is the most helpful. Now, if any of you guys have any sort of troubles with breathing, we also have a breathing exercise in our course, and that is called the 777 breathing exercise. So it simply means breathing in up to a count of seven, holding your breath to a count of seven, and releasing it to a count of seven. So you can also keep doing this exercise more and more all day long to give you a greater amount of control over your breathing. And that is what this exercise is for, to give you a greater amount of control over your breathing, and it helps you feel more cool, calm, and relaxed. So if you're going into a speaking situation, doing this 777 breathing exercise would really help you to become more cool, calm, and relaxed. Let me just show it to you very quick how it actually looks like. So here it goes. Right? Inhaling to a count of seven, holding to a count of seven, releasing to a count of seven. It just takes 21 seconds. So you can do maybe two, three of those in the morning, some in the afternoon, some in the evening, some at night. It would help you develop a greater amount of control over your breathing, and it would keep you more cool, calm, and relaxed. So that when you go out into speaking situations, you feel more cool, calm, and relaxed, and you can easily breathe, extend, and blend. Breathe, extend, and blend. This is a very important part that I needed to speak about. One more thing, I'm not going to go onto it in a lot more detail, but I'm just going to explain it while I'm actually doing. That is actually using your hands. So using your hands and using your facial expressions is also very important, instead of standing stiff and holding your breath and doing all those things, right? So make sure that you're moving your hands, and you're using your hands slow. You're breathing, extending, blending, you're speaking slow, and you're moving your hands, and you're moving your hands slow as well, so that it really helps you to actually release that anxiety, and you're able to speak in an effective manner. So make sure that you use your hands, that you use your facial expressions and all. So this is a very important part, right? So we spoke about the mindset, we spoke about the physical aspect. Before we move on towards the last, but definitely not the least, probably the most important thing, your self identity. Does anybody have anything to ask so far? So even if you guys have those questions, you can keep writing them down, and I'll be moving towards most of them just towards time, right? So you might say that, all right, so if it means that if I'm working on my speech, I need to learn extending, I need to learn blending, I need to learn this, I need to learn that. That is a lot. That is a lot. First of all, that is not a lot, but even if you feel like that's a lot, modeling actually combines all of that. So you might heard of modeling, so you might have heard of modeling, you might have not have heard of modeling, but even if you have not heard, here you are to hear about modeling. What is modeling? Modeling simply means, I'm going to explain it in very short, that you select someone as a speaker whom you really like the way they speak, whom you really admire the way they speak, and you feel like if you could speak like them, it would bring about a better speaking. For example, you select Michael because you have a lot of his videos, you have a lot of his audios, so you get to see him a lot, you get to hear him a lot, and that is a very important part. After selecting your model, you keep listening to them, you keep watching them over and over and over and over and over and over again in order to build a mental impression of their speaking style in your mind. So when you see them speaking, focus on how they are speaking, how they are acting, how they are using their hands, how they are using their facial expressions, how are they extending and blending, how are they slowing down their speech, how are they speaking in a great amount of flow, how are they speaking in a great amount of rhythm. So I want you to sit and observe your speaking model over and over again. Keep listening to them over and over and over again. Keep watching them over and over again, as I said, to build a mental impression of their speaking style in your mind. So this is called the observation. You keep observing your model over and over again. Then the next step, what you move towards is practicing speaking like your model. Because as I said, you select someone as a speaker whom you like the way they speak, whom you admire the way they speak, and you want to speak like them. You would actually like to speak like them. So then you actually start to practice speaking like your speech model. You keep observing them over and over again, and then you keep focusing on speaking like your speech model. So you sit, for example, you just get and watch a video of your model, then you close that video, and then you try to repeat the same words that your model was saying in that video, and you try to speak in that same speaking style, how your model was, how he was extending and blending his words, how he was breathing, how he was slowing down his speech, how he was using his hands, how he was using his facial expressions. So you start to say those exact same words in the exact same way as your model was speaking. Let me be very clear, modeling does not necessarily mean to match his voice. Although, if that makes you feel like your model, that can be helpful. But what modeling is, it actually means to match their speaking rhythm, how they are actually speaking, the rhythm and the cadence of their speech. So you try to focus on that. You try to match that. And you can also just record yourself while you're modeling them. So, for example, you watch a video of them and then you practice speaking like them and then you record your own videos and then you match both of the videos. Is my video matching with the video of my model? Are these two videos matching? If they are not matching, what is my model doing that I'm not doing? Maybe I'm not extending my words. Maybe I'm not blending my words. Maybe I'm not finishing. I'm not inflecting. All right, so let me try to focus on that as well. Let me try to do that as well. So you try to keep doing that over and over and over and over again until you start to really grasp your model's speaking style. Not just by modeling, listen, just by modeling, you start to learn a bundle of skills. You learn extending, you learn blending, you learn breathing, you learn inflecting, finishing, articulating, using your hands, using your facial expressions. If your model has all of that, for example, if Michael does all of that and you're modeling Michael, then you start to develop a bundle of skills just by doing the model. And that is why modeling is actually the foundation of this speech system. So you need to keep doing this modeling practice over and over again, right? Even if you're a female, you can model a male. It does not matter. It does not matter. There have been many clients of Michael who have been females, but they have modeled him. In fact, what might sound a bit weird to you is that I modeled Michael for my own language as well, that is Urdu or Hindi, as you can say. Although I know that Michael does not speak that language, but I used to just ask myself, if Michael were to speak my language, how would he speak? And then I would try to speak like, right? So, for example, if you're modeling any video of your model, you can also just translate it into your own language and then model Michael for that. If not, you can also select someone as a model in your own language as well. That is also something that can do. But make sure that if you're selecting someone other than Michael, he or she should be someone who is not a very fast speaker. Because if you start to model someone who is a very fast speaker, that might have a negative impact on the speech. So make sure you model someone who's an excellent and amazing speaker, who takes his time and who has a rhythm and cadence to his or her speech, right? So having this thing in your mind and focusing on this is extremely, extremely important. Modeling. It's not just the formal modeling, like the formal modeling practice is what I was just explaining, modeling any video of your model. Now, the second thing that goes along is the informal modeling. Informal modeling is where you say content of your own, like your model. For example, you say that, all right, I'm going to speak about any of my hobbies. I'm going to speak about what happened yesterday. I'm going to speak about some of my plans for the next day. And while I speak on that, I'm going to focus on speaking like my speech model. I'm going to focus on my day. So, for example, let me speak about how my day went. All right, so yesterday, what happened is that I went to one of my friend's house, and what I was doing is that I was actually just conversing with her. I was speaking to her, right? You're saying content of your own, and you're trying to say it like your model. So you keep observing your model, you keep doing the formal modeling practice, all, and you also keep doing that informal modeling practice over and over and over and over again. But you don't have to stop there. Then you have to go out more and focus on speaking like your model. You have to go out more and ask yourself, if my model was here in my shoes, how would he be feeling right now? Would he be feeling anxious, or would he be feeling quite cool, calm, and relaxed? Right? Would he be using his hands? Would he be using his facial expressions? Would he be speaking fast? Or would he be having a rhythm and cadence to his speech and he would be extending and blending his words? Would he be breathing? All right, so let me try to do all of that because in your mind, you should not be yourself. You should be your speaking model. So when you're going into a speaking situation, walk into it like Michael. Walk into it like Michael is walking into. And that just changes the whole game. Because when you get out of your shoes, most of the times you forget how you used to speak, how you used to have a hard time speaking, how you had those unsuccessful speaking memories because now you're not like yourself. You are like your speaking model. So you go out to speak and you focus on speaking like your model. You focus on speaking like, acting like, using your hands and facial expressions, speaking like, acting like, and feeling like your model. Feeling is very important. How would my model feel right now? Would he be anxious or would he be very cool, calm, and relaxed and he would be enjoying his speech to the very fullest? So you keep asking those things to yourself. So you can either directly focus on modeling or you can focus on something that triggers your modeling style. For example, like I just explained, breathing, extending, and blending. So you would find that many times when you go out to speak, you would focus on breathing, extending, and blending, and you would start to feel like your model because your model does the same. He breathes, extends, and blends and speaks in an excellent way, right? So you can also focus on something that triggers your modeling style. So modeling is the end goal when you're speaking, but you can also focus on something that gets you into your modeling style. So many of my clients have told me that when we visualize Michael, we feel more like him. So, for example, if you're speaking and if you start to visualize Michael in your head or your model in your head, you might start to feel more like him and then speak like him. Or you might just focus on something that your model does. For example, your model uses his hands in a certain way. So you start to use your hands in a certain way as well. You start to extend and blend in a way that your model does. You start to inflect in a way that your model does. So that you start to feel like your model. And when you start to feel like your model, you would start to speak and act like your model as well. That is something that is extremely important and that you do not have to miss out. Now, modeling does not mean that you are trying to actually become a speaker like Michael in the long term. I don't speak exactly like Michael. I have built my own speaking style out of Michael's. So you're using modeling to build your own speaking style. Modeling acts as a bridge. It helps you reach where you want much, much faster, much, much easier. It's not necessarily very easy at the start, but the more and more you do it, the easier and easier it gets, right? And it makes you reach where you want much, much faster, much, much easier. So modeling is actually the foundation of this system, right? So you might be asking that when should I do what? Like someone asks, how much time should I spend on modeling every day? So I would say that formal and informal modeling together should be around half an hour, right? So I said half an hour, for example, you keep focusing on breathing, extending, blending. Half an hour you work on the modeling. For example, half an hour you working on the formal and informal modeling. Let's say 15 minutes on the formal modeling, 15 minutes on the informal modeling. For half an hour, you are actually doing breathing, extending, and blending. So you can do around 1 hour of this practice every day. And for example, half an hour you can give to that audio listening. So you might be saying, oh, that's a lot. 1.5 hours every day. Well, you don't have to do it in one sitting. You don't have to sit and do 1.5 hours. Or let's say 1 hour. Let's keep audio listening to the side for now. You don't have to do that 1 hour in one. So you can do some in the morning, some in the afternoon, some in the evening, some at night, and some just before you go to sleep. So you might say that, all right, each day after I wake up, I'm going to do 5 to 10 minutes of breathing, extending, and blending. And then I'm going to do some formal modeling and informal modeling. That's it. Then I'm going to do some practices, let's say in my lunch break. Then I'm going to do some practices in the evening. Then after I get back home. Then I'm going to go with some practices just before I go to sleep. 5 to 10 here, 5 to 10 here, 5 to 10 here. In this way, you would not get bored. And in your whole day, you would be in your new speaking style. If you keep speaking in your old speaking style all day long, and just before you go to sleep, you work on your speech and then you go to sleep, and the next day, you still keep speaking in your old speaking style, that is not helpful at all, right? What you have to do is that you have to do small chunks of practice here and there in the morning, in the afternoon, all day long. So all day you would be in your new speaking mode, right? And it would keep you in your new speaking style. So whenever you go out to speak, you would remember to use your new speaking style because you would keep practicing all day long. So that is a skill, that is a strategy that is very, very important. That is extremely important. So try to practice like that. And what we kept on site, let's put it back again, audio listening. Audio listening, you don't have to sit and do it. You can do it while you're doing something else as well. For example, you're driving to work, you're driving back to home, you're exercising, you're doing something where you're not consciously focused on it, you're walking, or something like that. You can keep listening to the audios then as well, right? So it's very easy to do that practice no matter how busy you are. But you don't have to just keep doing those practices, as I said. Then you have to go out there and have to use this new speaking style over and over again. The real life practices are very important. Even on days where you do not find a lot of time to do the form to do the formal practices, substitute them with real life practices. All right, so let me try to make a phone call to my friend and let me try to speak like my mom, or let me try to breathe, extend, and blend. So you can also do real life practices. Let me go to the supermarket, let me speak to him, let me speak to her, let me focus on using my new speaking style, let me focus on breathing, extending, and blending, right? So you keep doing those practices. Both of them are very, very important. And once you keep doing all those things, within a period of 3 to 4 months, you would reach your new speaking style. That is, your new speaking style would become automatic, like I'm speaking right now. I'm not focused on using my new speaking style. I'm not focused on, hey, I have to extend, I have to blend, I have to do this, I have to do that. Everything is happening on its own because I've worked on my speech for such a long period of time that my mind, my body just knows how to, right? So once you keep working on your speech, you eventually get to a point where the new speaking style becomes automatic, and then you no longer even have to focus on all of these things. But in order to reach that place, focusing on it every single day is very important. Michael said the reason he named this system the Pro90d speech system was 90 minutes for 90 days. Like I explained, 1.5 hours for 90 days, right? That is what gets you there. If you're not inside the system, I would highly encourage you to get inside the system. If you're working on your own, that's fine. But some people find that when they're working on their own, some days they are working on their speech, and some days life gets in the way, work gets in the way, and they start to become inconsistent with their speech. And that is where their speech might start to slack off, right? But if you're working every single day, that is where you would actually start to see those speech improvements. And that is where that one on one speech coaching might help a lot. Because when you're working with a coach, he keeps you very, very accountable. He makes you keep working on your speech every single day. He keeps you encouraged, focused on your successes, like I just spoke about. So you get more accountability, you get more encouragement, you also get more feedback, because sometimes working on your own, don't know whether what the things I'm doing, are they working for me, or am I doing that in the right way or not. A coach with his own experience and with the experience of working with so many clients can give that feedback to you, and he can give you exactly what you need to focus on. Many people don't know. They say that there is a lot of stuff inside the system. We have extending, we have blending, we have modeling, we have inflecting, we have breathing. What do I need to focus on? And that is what a coach, when he's working with you one on one, that is what you get with the coaching. Because a coach can look at your speech, and with his own experience and with the experience of working with so many clients, he can point out exactly what you need to focus on, what you need to work on. And that in itself makes the journey a whole lot faster. So if you're looking for the one on one speech coaching, I can also help you with that. And I've been working with clients all around the world for the last 2 years, and I've been helping them take their speech towards the next level. I myself used to struggle severely with my speech, and the system helped me to get up to this point, and now I'm actually helping my clients and students do the same. So if anyone might be interested in that, there is a link that I'm leaving to booking a free one on one session with me, a free one on one assessment session with me, where we can speak about stuff, and where we can let you know if this one on one coaching is a good fit for you, and what package you should choose. So you don't even have to worry about the finances, because we have some really, really special pricing out there. So when you go onto this link, you might find some pricing, but I can offer you even further discounts, right? So you don't have to worry about that. You just need to go ahead and book a session with me, and then we can have those special offers for you. And believe it or not, one on one coaching is the fastest way. We have found that the one-on-one coaching helps you get there at least 10 times faster than if you're working on your own, right? So I also shared the link to my coaching page. You can see all of the clients reviews and everything right there, and then you can go ahead and book a session with me. This is a free session where we can speak about your speech, what you need to do. Maybe you need to go with the self-study course, maybe you need to go with the coaching, and how we can actually get started coaching. And then you might also have many questions related to the coaching, how it works, how would be the sessions, this and that. So those questions I would also be able to answer in this session, and then you can select on whether you would like to go with the coaching or not, right? So I've shared the link for it, and even after this session, this link would stay. Now, moving towards some of the questions that I was asked. So I think I answered how much time you should do. Deepak asked, does the modeling work also for a person who has been struggling with severe stammering as he or she stammers on every word? Yes, it exactly works. It exactly works. But at the start, it would be very important to start off with something like breathing, extending, and blending, because modeling might be very hard for you if you speak very fast, or if you just chop off your words. So at the start, you can first focus on getting your speech into a good amount of flow, slowing down your speech, and after you get a good amount of hold of that, then you can switch into the modeling. But for many people, they can directly switch into the modeling as well. But if someone is stutters severely, then you can start off with that. First, work on slowing down your speech, then work on maintaining a flow with your speech, right? Work on extending and blending. And then when you switch into modeling, modeling would be a lot easier. But modeling works for every single person no matter what. All right. Nino, what if you diligently do all of the above you talk about for 3 to 4 months and never see any improvements whatsoever with your speech? Where do you go from there? Well, that is something that we can speak about. If this is something that has not worked for you, there might be a variety of reasons for that. Maybe you were not doing everything, maybe you were not doing that in the right way, or maybe you were doing that or not doing that consistently, or maybe you had some sort of a belief about your speech that needed to be worked upon before you needed to get started working on your speech. There might be a lot of reasons for that. But you can surely go ahead and book a session with me and we can speak about that. But if you do the work, if you remain consistent, this is something that, like, I would say that there is no reason why it wouldn't work. If it worked for me, it would work for everyone because so far I haven't seen a case which was as severe as mine. I used to literally force out every single word. But but even I reached here. If I can reach here, so can all of you. I have a few clients who can hardly say even a single word, and that is where they require that personal coaching, right? And that makes the process fast. But it can work for absolutely everyone provided that you have the belief that you can reach to that next level. Number one. Next, you stay consistent. You keep doing the things every single day. You use your new speaking style every time you go out to speak. If you do all of those things, if you have that belief that I can become an excellent speaker, and if you keep doing all those things, as I said, there is absolutely no reason why it wouldn't, shouldn't work. Even if you feel like it hasn't worked for you for some reason, you can book a session with me and we can speak about it. All right, so something else that you guys have in mind? Any other questions or comments for me? Anything else? So we spoke about the physical aspect of speaking, we spoke about the mindset, the speaking identity, and what you need to do on a daily basis to work on all of the above. And you need to do that on a consistent amount of basis until it becomes automatic, until you can just automatically use your new speaking style without any effort. And you would reach that place. Believe me, right? You just have to be consistent with it. And you need to keep doing those things. All right. So Nino and whoever wants to, you can book a session with me and we can speak about your speech and what you need to do and what you need to focus on and some of those coaching packages for you. So we have some special pricing, especially if you are from some parts of the world where finance is an issue. So we can also work that out. We can also speak about that. So you can go ahead on this link and book a session. All right. If you guys have nothing more to ask, I would be ending this session soon. And you guys would also be receiving this meeting recording that you can go ahead and look up to in case you missed something. And I'm very, excuse me, I'm very, very grateful for all of you for being a part of this session and for listening to me. And we keep doing these sessions like monthly or every 2 weeks. These are really helpful, but if you want to get the full improvements, then either the self study or the coaching is something that I would highly recommend, and it is something that I would highly advise you. Any other questions for me? How can I help you? Any further thing? You're welcome. And towards the end, I would just go ahead and share the links once again so that no one misses out. And even after I close the session, these links would still be available on the chat, right? And you might also be receiving these links on your emails from my site within a few hours or within a day or two, right? So I shared the link to my YouTube channel. Here's the link again to my coaching page. And here is the link again to booking a free one-on-one assessment session with me, right? So that is how it actually goes. Is this stammering caused by negative mindset or physical disfluency? Both. It's caused by both, right? For some reason, at the start, when you got started speaking, when you were a small child, maybe for some reason you got stuck, you had a hard time speaking, and after that, you developed a self identity out of that. You started looking yourself as a speaker who gets stuck, who stutters, who stammers. So you build a mental belief out of that, and then it had an impact on the physical aspect. The physical aspect had an impact on the mental on the physical on the mental. So it becomes a loop. It becomes a loop, right? So both of these have an impact, and that is why you need to work on both of these, right? So I hope that that answers your question. Anything else? No? So we would be going ahead and, all right. If there is no stuttering or stammering issue, just public speaking help. Yes, we help with that as well. Because as I said, we are here to help you out to become an excellent and amazing speaker. Whether someone stutters, whether someone stammers, or whether they just want to enhance their speaking skills, it does not matter. I'm working with many clients. I have one from Europe. I don't remember the country. I think it's Latvia. Yes. So she is someone, and then I have someone from the US, and then I have someone from Africa as well. Now, those are the clients who actually do not study, who do not stand. They are working to enhance their speaking skills. So, no matter what your starting point is, we are there to help you with your speaking skills. And it's just that the people who stutter or stammer, they are more committed to working on their speech. But whether you stutter, whether you not stutter, we don't even have that enough of mind. What we want to help you get towards is to help you become an excellent and amazing speaker, no matter whatever your starting point is. And yes, I'm working with various clients who are just working to enhance their speaking skills. In fact, I would say that uh, more than 20 to maybe 30% of our clients, they are the ones who do not study. We actually work with them as well. So, yeah. Something else? Anything else which is not clear? All right. So I would be going ahead and ending the session. And if there is something extra, you can always book a session with me, or you can go ahead on my email address and write down an email to me that, hey, I would like to work with you, or hey, I would like to ask this question that I wasn't able to ask in the session, right? So I'm leaving my email address as well. Yeah, there it goes. So you have that as well. But I would say the best way is to book a session with me so that we can actually speak about it. Especially Nino, if you are here, I would really want you to book a session with me, and so that we can speak about why it might not have been working for you and what you actually need to do. Right? All right. So I would be going ahead and ending this session. I am very happy to see you guys all here, and may you be blessed. And I'll see you very soon inside the system, maybe in any of our sessions, or maybe working one on one with me. All right. See you guys. Thank you.